So hi guys, welcome to stages 38, 39 of the fire truck. Now, two apologies to make. First of all, I apologise for the length. I'm making the stages just individually, then I'm doing this intro and I'm putting the stages together based on the length of the total video. I'm going to be honest with you, I had a lot of issues with this. So I need to put 38, 39 together. Of course, the second apology is, I do apologise, but I've sent this link to Agora, and Agora, I feel you need to watch it, because showing you the issues is a lot easier than telling you. So enjoy the video as much as you can. So this is stage 38 and this is the rear left stabilizer and steps. Now my desk is fairly clear because this is the first one of the pack, so as we build on the next 6 videos you'll see things build up. So as I say, this is the pack, start of pack 6, stage 38. There's only 6 stages in this pack. I do try to defend these part works and judge them as a whole, but I will confess this pack seems a little bit thin this month, but you know, we'll press on. It's going to be adding detail, which is always nice. So let's have a look at the parts, and we have got, in no particular order, well, in the order that they've laid it out, we have this rear left stabilizer, which I do like the detail. It is rather nice. So that's that. Now, I may get these in the wrong order because I've said this before, you have a 2-dimensional picture in the magazine and we're dealing with 3-dimensional parts. But if I get these part names wrong, it will work out in the end, because obviously they will only go in a certain place. Now this is definitely the step back plate because it's got a little picture, a little warning picture on it. And then we have the, let's have a look. This is definitely the step left side plate, and I can tell that from the position of the holes. And in fact, I'll bring this up next to the deck. So this is a step right side plate. And you can tell what I mean now by the positions of the holes. And then that leaves us with a stabilizer support plate. And then we have, now these may be the wrong order because there's 4 of them and I can't tell which is which. Now between these 4 pieces we have step 3, step 4, step 2 and step 1. I really cannot tell at the moment. We've got one there with, that might be step 1, and then I can't tell between 2, 3 and 4. To be honest with you, they look very similar, but step 1 has got smaller lugs on it, but these look like it's got longer lugs, and these therefore I'm going to call them medium lugs. So I'll just see if there's any notes. There aren't. So that's definitely step 1. But these 3 I can't tell. I think either step 2 and 3 are the same, or 3 and 4 are the same, or 2 and 3 or 2 and 4. I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll find out once we start building. Right, so these are step brackets, and these are just little bits of plastic. Obviously I'm guessing they've got something to do with the steps. Then we have a step handle. This is obviously going to help you when you step up onto the steps. And these 2 I don't want to take out of the packet because they're small and fiddly. we have a light lens which is red, and we have the light frame which is silver. To say, we'll take those out when we come to the actual building stage. Right, so the first thing we need to do is, from our sub-assemblies box, we need a storage compartment frame from stage 32, which is this. It is actually beautiful, but the camera doesn't always pick that up, especially if it's just slightly out of focus. Okay, so we need to take the stabilizer support plate, which I believe is this one, and note that there is a tiny notch in one corner, and there we go. So if you look, it's not exactly square. Focus. Right, so if we look in the top left, it's like someone's just caught it with a knife or a bit of sandpaper. It's just slightly angled. With the notch in the top left position, must be like that. Align the plate on the end of the storage compartment frame. So that's top left. I do know my left from right, but that seems a little bit odd because there's no positive, but this is quite plain on this side, so that must be right. Okay. So step 3, so with the support plate resting in place over the 2 fixing points, position the left stabilizer on top so that its lugs project into the fixing hole. So I'm guessing what might actually have been simpler is if we put this stabilizer through that, like so, and then, whoops, I don't know what's easiest. So that goes into there like so. Hold the components in place as you turn the frame over to fix, and that's the point that I realise I've actually forgotten to get the screws out. So let's find the screws. Okay, which are in the, of course they are, they're in the sub-assemblies box. Where else would I put my screws? So I will confess it's slightly earlier than I normally get up because I want to get some filming, because I've got some people coming round today. They have a habit of, I love them, they're really good friends, but 1 hour turns into 6 hours very, very quickly. Right, so we need to fix this in place, turning it over with H screws, and that's quite interesting. We haven't got the screws this issue, but remember we've been collecting them as the issue goes, and they have stated do not get rid of any screws because you will need them for future issues. So I'm going to do my usual, which is tried to get, oh no, I've just lost a screw. Oh no, that's a potential disaster. So I've set my desk up so that if I drop screws they should land on the desk, which they haven't done, but camera's rolling, so I'll have to find that later on. So I wonder if it's just because it's the wrong kind of end. I quite often find that if I have the wrong screwdriver bit, it just doesn't hold the screw that well. There we go, that's a much better hold, isn't it? There we go. So as usual, I'll just put the screw in just enough to bite, and then this second one can go in fully, and then we'll go back to the first screw. That one's not even going in. There we go. So the hole has got a little bit of flashing going on, which makes the screw slightly harder to get in. There we go, that's the first screw in fully. And it doesn't matter if that screw is in fully or not. What matters is that's being held on with no give, and there is 0 give on there. So, well, that's interesting. So this little grey bit there is actually a button, but there is nothing, it doesn't connect to anything. Ah, right. So I can see, I didn't notice that. It doesn't say anything in the instructions. So this stabilizer stays up. And this is one of the gripes I've had, is that stabilizer just falls down on the other ones that we've done. If we push that button in, it releases the stabilizer. And then when we push it all the way back up, it stays up. So I'll see if this is good enough. Yeah. So if you can't pull that well, you can, but it's a lot better if you push the button in. That releases the stabilizer. So it's obviously like a little block that catches with the notches on there. Okay, so next we have, here we go. So this explains the steps a lot better. So we take the 4 steps and we note the differences in their size and their lugs. Step 1 has very short lugs, so that is definitely step 1. And it says step 2 has long lugs. So I had noticed the lugs. Well, you can't not notice the lugs. So this is step 2. And then it says steps 3 and 4 are identical. So there we go. There's our lugs. Our steps 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's time to begin. I'll count it in. 5, 6, 7, 8.
No! Right, so stage 7, we need to take step 1 with the very short lugs and we align them with a small bracket in the orientation shown. Apply a drop of glue to the lugs before pushing them into the holes in the bracket as shown. So we have step 1, we have a bracket, not this one, yes, this one, not that one. Okay, these are exactly the same. So what we've got is we've got the back, because these have got ejector pin marks. I hope these are the back, because these are the front, which are just plain. So that's going into there like so. Now the problem I have there is that covers the ejector pin mark, but when we come to this one, I hope that that's going to be covered, because that ejector pin mark is on there. But that's me jumping ahead and technically doing some speculation. So a little bit of glue, and we're just going to put a tiny bit on each lug like so. And I've been having trouble with my glue lately. It has been drying really hard, but it seems to be taking ages. Okay, that wasn't a good move, because I've managed to get fingerprint glue mark. So that is a big error on my part. So I may just have to touch that up now, and I'm only going to do if I have to. Right, that's stuck enough. So don't forget, guys, when you use super glue, it might dry in seconds, but you really do need to let it cure overnight. Okay, so next we need to take step 2 with the longest lugs and push them into the free end of the bracket above step 1. So that's nice and simple if it hadn't stuck itself to the cloth. Oh, that's a bugger, isn't it? Sorry guys. Right, there we go. So I managed to make a big mess with the glue. Right, so this step 2 is going to go into there like so, and it just says to push them in. It doesn't say anything about gluing, but it then does say fix the remaining step bracket to the opposite end of the steps, checking the orientation mirrors the first bracket. So now it doesn't say anything about glue, so I'm going to try it without glue, because although it's not going to hold very well, what we need to remember is that these lugs are longer, and they might be longer for a reason. So I'm going to try to continue without gluing, I think that glue was just to hold it in until we got to the next step, till we got to the next stages. Right, so next we need to take step 3 and push it into the holes on the left step side plate, which is one of these two, and I believe it's this one because of the positions of the holes. So step 3, push it into the holes, and it's telling us to pop it into these holes there, and that's a rather good push fit connection. Now I'm not looking at the next step, but I think we can pretty much guess what we're doing. So yep, we take step 4 and push it into the left side like so. Easy peasy, pudding and pie. Okay, and the longer lugs on step 2 can now be pushed into the holes along the bottom edge, and I think I can see where this is all going. So this needs to go there into those bottom holes. If I can actually find the holes, there we go. So that end is still not glued on, and I can see also where my horrible fingerprint mark is. That's just going to need a little touch of glue, so I'll do that at the end of the that at the end of the pack build. Okay, so right, so this needs to go to one side for a moment, because what we need to do now is we need to assemble the light by pushing the light lens into the light frame, and these, as you may remember, I'm not overly keen on because they do tend to fall off, but it does actually say, oh, it says about the handle. Right, I'm not liking, I don't know, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if that's going to fall out or not. Yeah, I think even though it's taken a blade to pull it out, I think what I'm going to do is I have some glue which is effectively PVA glue. Right, I'll do that after. I can't find my glue. I have some glue which is for scale models canopies. I could use super glue because this is partially covered, but I'm going to use more like PVA glue, and that way it won't cause any damage to the plastic. Right, so what we need to do now is take the assembly to place in the back plate. So we take the back plate, and what we need to do, and we know it's the right one because we've got that warning on it, and we need to just pop this light, and I can see that there's a smaller and a larger peg, which the larger one is on that side to go into that larger hole there, which you can't see because of the focus, and that's going to push into there like that. That's actually a really nice fit, she says, as it falls off. Right, that's not a problem because I'm going to put some glue in, but I'm going to glue from the back, just a tiny touch. Not, I say a tiny touch, and it comes flying out. Right, so in a few moments, once that glue starts to set, that will stay there. But now equally, I feel I could use ABS glue on some of the projects that I'm doing. I'm using ABS glue, which glues this kind of plastic to this kind of plastic, but right now I'm not going to. Right, so we need to take the other, can't see what they've called it, but it's this piece, and holding it this way around, we need to take the handle and that goes into the two holes that are slightly recessed. Can you see the slight recesses? And that's where the handle's going to go. Just like that. Okay, and this part with the light is then, there we go. So we see we've got two holes remaining on there. That's going to go into there like that. So what we have now, ignoring the fact there's nothing on this side, we have a set of steps which has a warning that you can read as you step on the steps, and then we have the red flashing light, which is obviously to alert pedestrians, etc., of the potential danger. Now that's not fitting in that well. It does say to glue the lugs. Let me have a look at the next step. So the next step is as I predicted in my head. This piece wants to go on like so. And now I think we can get an idea of which pieces need gluing. Right, okay. So I'm going to change the order slightly because I'm having a bit of a struggle. I think if we take this piece off and we actually push this onto the back there, gluing if necessary, then we can bring this piece on and meet that way. However, this has now come off. So I think this will need gluing on the bottom step only, because, and I think what we're going to end up doing is on this entire piece apply a little bit of glue just to the lugs as you need it. So let's get our glue out, and we're going to glue and assemble as I feel is a little bit easier. So a little bit of glue just on these lugs like so, and this will just hold everything in position while we connect. Now that's now not going in. Isn't it funny, the dry fit fits perfectly. As soon as you put glue on, it doesn't want to know. Right, so next I'm going to apply glue just to the lugs of the bottom step only, and that's just to hold this support in while we assemble everything. I really should be using tweezers, to be honest with you, so I'm going to try and set a good example, and I'm going to use them. Right, there we go. So I have the bottom step is glued there and there, but not there and there, and I just don't think you need it anyway. Right, so now we've started to assemble this. Let's do a dry fit. Do you know what? Me and glue on this particular model don't seem to be working out. Right. So I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to apply glue to these lugs, bring this part in at an angle, and then adjusting these to make sure they fit into those holes, and then once it's all in place, we'll then apply glue to the back of the lugs. So these aren't going to be glued in immediately. So, and I think I might be using tweezers for this, and I think it's going to get slightly awkward. So just a case of bringing it all together. There, oh, actually that went a lot easier than I thought. Right, so that's all in. So what I'm going to do now, just give my glue a little bit of a shake. I'm tempted to use thin glue on this, but I'd be a little bit worried that it would all run through with capillary action. So what I'm going to do instead is on this part that I sure do hope will not be seen, is I'm applying the glue. So there you go, guys. That shows how terrible I am. 24 minutes to make a simple set of steps. Which I think is awful, and we're still not finished. Right, so while that's drying off a little bit, and this glue, it used to be instant set, but I don't know if the glue has gone off or if it's just come to the end of the natural life. But what we need to do is attach the storage compartment frame to the box. Now, I believe last week I did a speculation on this, but we need to lay the box frame shell on its side, and I've gone all at an angle. Why am I at an angle? Right, so now I'm going to mount the storage compartment on top, aligning the pegs on the back of the frame with the holes in the shell. You will have the correct position if the pair of screw holes circled above are aligned. So it's focusing on a screw hole there, and it's focusing on a screw hole there. So we need to position this so those screw holes line up, and there we are. There's a small peg there and there, and they will naturally, if you begin by lining that screw hole up there, so these two screw holes, and it doesn't matter what position you line that screw hole in, but if you keep that, and for fun, let's use a cocktail stick. So we'll put the cocktail stick through there and through the screw hole. So now that's pivoting, and then as we bring that up, that will naturally lock into place with the pegs. There's also one there. So that's in position. So the next thing we want is some D screws, and we need a total of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually. Okay, and we're going to be positioning these screws there, 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 there and there, and it's actually easy to tell where the screws are going to go, because where they need to go, it's countersunk. See these holes there, focus. So these holes there are just holes. These are actually countersunk holes. And why are they countersunk? Because we're using countersunk screws. So first screw in, and I'm going to do this one all the way on the, I'll tell you what, let's use the correct screwdriver head, shall we? In fact, I might actually need a bigger one. Sometimes a bigger screwdriver head works better. Do you know what? I'm going to cut corners, or not cut corners, depending on how you see it. I'm going to use the screwdriver that came with this. So I'm doing the left one, and the next one I'll do will be the right one, and then I don't have to worry so much about this compartment slipping. Oh, that is obviously not a good fit because I've just ripped that screw off. Okay, so the question is, have I done something wrong there, or are these bad parts, or does it require all 5 screws in before there's any serious strength on it? I don't like that. Not happy with that. That just feels, these screws just feel a little bit short for the job in hand. See, I would be expecting this to hold a certain amount of weight, just with one screw in. Right. See, that's not fully engaged, and I don't think that's going to be. Right. So this is where the first screw is attaching, and that's where the second one's attaching. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm worried. I can't get these screws to fully tighten. And it seems that if you put a little bit more on there, it loosens it on this end. Yeah, look, that screw's not even in anymore. It's like it's popped out. So, yeah, look, that's just fallen out. So this is not great. So I don't know if it's me not put the screw in properly or if it's the actual screw. Right, let's go for this middle compartment next. So that screw goes in there, and I'll tell you what, if this isn't going to stay on because the screws are wrong, I'm not even going to film the next part before complaining and saying I would like something done about it. Right, so that's that screw on. It doesn't specify to put the screws in any particular order, which it never does, because normally it wouldn't make a difference. Right, now this screw, now, see, I don't know. Right, okay, let's pop this last screw on. I just feel that these screws are not long enough and actually not fat enough. They don't seem to be gripping. Having said that, I'm lifting it up by the white box, and I would say that's more than reasonable amount of wear and tear. So, I don't know, I've got my reservations, but I'm wondering. Okay, so that is step 23 done. So next, what we want to do is we want to take our compartment assembly containing the fire extinguisher from stage 31. I find that quite interesting that they've said, oh, it's the one with the fire extinguisher. They haven't said, oh, it's the one with a massive, great big wire sticking out the back. But we need to push that into the left side of the compartment frame, feeding the plug on the switch through the opening in the back. So I believe we did this as a speculation last month. I can't remember making the video now. Well, it had been last week for you guys, because this is a new pack. Wait, it's been a month since I made last week's video, and when I got these parts out, I could see that this I'm not liking this. The reason I'm not liking this is I can't tell if that's in fully, but I think that is in. So we pull the cable through and fit the compartment so the doors are flush to the frame, which they are not, but they're flush at the bottom, but they're not flush there. There's a little white gap. If I open the door, you can see. So I do not know, and there's no way to tell because there we go. I don't know. There we go. Right, so there's a little click in place. However, now it looks lopsided, which suggests to me that there we go. But now I'm scared because this is only screwed on with the tiniest, thinnest screws in length that you've ever seen. So, and now these doors are popping open, which suggests to me that's an ill fit. Oh, look at that, I can't have that. I can't have those keep popping open. Oh, do you know what? This part work is giving me reasons to not like it. I'm working so hard to defend it. Right, so next step then, we need to fit the narrow compartment from stage 35, and that's this one. Check that the hinges along the bottom and the door opens by pulling downwards. So that will be this way then. So I don't know if there's, well, there is an easy way. Can you see the handle there? It's like a little teardrop shape, and it points downwards because it's crying at the quality of this build. So downwards. So that wants to go in like so, and there we go. Yeah, look, you see it's a bit of a, not the most perfect fit there. So how do we deal with that? I don't really know. Right, so lastly we fit the first compartment that we built in stage 7, which is not this one. Must be this one. So teardrop downwards, please help me, is what it's saying. And that's going to go in like that. So one good thing now is that we know, because we've got these compartments in, we know when this one is in. And there we go. Now we have some grace. We have what is obviously some kind of peg in there. So something's going to go into there, and that will hold that all together once it's in. But there we go, that's stage 27, and that is stage 38, the rear left stabilizer and steps. And this is how it looks in the magazine. And what do I think of it? So I don't know if I started doing this in the last build or if I did it on something completely different, but I thought about a little rating system. Now I don't really like going, oh, 10 out of 10 or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rate every stage now on an A, B, C, D or E or F, with C being it's okay. So C is a pass, and A is obviously wonderful. And I think this particular stage, I don't think I can give it any more than a C. It certainly passes. It does exactly what it does on the tin, does what it says on the tin. We've made some steps. I'm just really, I'm giving it marks down for those screws. Those D screws are dreadful. See how short they are. I really don't think they're long enough. Yeah, it's just given a little bit there, and it's too, I'm not going to do anything about them. So really, I think those screws could have done with being a millimetre longer. I think that this is not quite a good fit, and I can't work out why. But oh, I see there's a magnet in there. So because, and you don't realise this until you put the compartment in, that magnet is pushing the side in a little bit. So that magnet perhaps needs to be a bit thinner. Why is there a magnet there? Why do we need a magnet there? So these, again, because of the push, this is an ill fit. This is not a great fit. Look at this, they're in free fall. But as a part work, it works. But look, I'm tilting this, so gravity should be pushing these doors back. And that's the best I can do. So, I don't know. C minus. So there you go, guys. That's stage 38 complete. Okay, so this is stage 39. This is storage compartment, inner and battery compartment. And this is the parts list. Now what I've done is the 3 sets of screws that they've given us in this issue, I have already put in the storage compartments just to save a little bit of time. So what we have then is a compartment inner, so we can kind of see where this one's going, can't we, because we've got some spaces for on the framework. Next we've got cable ties. This is what they've called them, I promise you. I can't see any tying going on here, but that's fine. So we have a battery compartment bottom, so I can see that this thing is going to take 3 AAA batteries, and we have battery compartment top. Now when I took it out of the packet, it was like this, which is fine for storage. Obviously the first thing I'm going to do is have a little play, and I can see that it's going to go this way. Now this to me feels like, you know, those cheap nasty remote control cars that you buy for kids, you know, the ones they only go forwards straight or they go backwards left, and when you turn it you have to keep going. Well, it feels that kind of plastic. Now I'm struggling getting this in because obviously I'm going to do a dry fit. There we go. It does go in, but it's quite, now it's fit for purpose, but as I'm in a little bit of a niggly mood with this model, I'm a bit grumpy with it being quite cheap and nasty. But see, that doesn't engage properly. Can you see that big gap there? Now, you know, I hope there's a lot of people going, well, it's fine so long as it holds the batteries, it's fine. But it doesn't have the feeling of quality for this battery compartment. So that's my niggle there. It is fit for purpose, but it's just, yeah. And it says do not throw away. Well, I got so few parts with this pack, I certainly don't want to throw anything away and get even less value. Right, so not content with giving me those horrible screws last issue to use, they've now given us 2 more. So they've given us D screws. They've also given us some more J screws. So I've got, if screws were food, I've got enough J screws to feed the world. And then lastly, we've got a single I screw to go with my little collection. Right, so first stage. So we need to bring in the sub-assembly from the last issue, which is this one. I'm frightened to touch it in case the screws give way. And what we need to be doing is we need to take the compartment. Oh, please don't do this to me. Right, okay, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm worried. Right, so this is going, oh my god. Right, so this is going in place there. Now what we need is we need this hole in the bottom right, and that is somehow right. So the pegs that we're looking to line up is there and there, and we've got 2 lugs. So those 2 lugs are, these are actually quite hard to line up. So let's hold this upside down. I think once we get one peg lined up, that's even if they fit. Right, okay, let's try a dirty tactic. There we go, I'm lining the wrong hole up. Right. So, there we go. I've cheated. And I'm using a couple of cocktail sticks. I don't even know if this is going to work. Right, okay. Right, so. Right, so the holes that it wants us to line up, we want to pop a couple of cocktail sticks in. So where the cocktail sticks are poking, I can't, you know what, I can't actually tell. Continuing along the same side of it, Align the two lugs on the compartment with those on the frame circled. This is, it could be my eyesight. See, I think it's this lug there. I think it's trying to line that lug up with the holes there and there. I think that's what it is. So, and it's doesn't seem to want to fit properly. There we go, that's one in. There we go. Right, oh, that was a lot of mess over that. Right, so now comes the fun bit. It now wants us to screw this in with two D-type screws, which are these screws that we hate. Well, I hate anyway. And these screws are very short. I am really worried. Right, so the screws are going using the cocktail stick, one there and one there. So right, so I've just put that first one in. See, that's just clicked as though something's just pulled out. I hope this all gets fitted in, sort of lugs coming in from the sides, because I'm not trusting these screws. I'm not. I don't. Right, they're in and they're holding that box, but I don't feel like they're in. And there's no way. Right, there's the back of the screw there, and you can't see it on that side. So I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think that's okay. But we have got it in the right way, and we've got that hole there in the bottom right. So step 3, we need to take these steps from the previous stage and push them into the gap between the stabilizer and the compartment inner, locating their lugs in the corresponding holes on the frame. And see, now that's a snug fit. I'm actually worried that I'm going to push this off. There we go. Right, so that first lug seems to have gone in, but I can't seem to get that second lug in. Right, so because that top lug goes in fine, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to try and locate it on the oh, there you go, there's the locating peg there. Oh, that's not going. That doesn't want to go in. So I think that's going to have to come out. Right, so what it is that lug there just seems a little bit bigger than that hole. So yes, I know this is upside down, it's not going to go upside down. Right, so I'm going to put the steps back in, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to push this lug in at the top. I'm going to focus on the bottom lug. It definitely fits in. Yeah, right. See, I'm really tempted to get the file out, but if I make that hole too big or this peg too small, is it then gonna slip in too easily? Now I can also see that this peg is slightly different sizes, as are those holes. Right, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this, it's actually a seam line scraper, but I'm just getting something in there, just in case it's paint block, and I've taken hardly any off. The aim there is just to really get the paint off, if there is any paint there. That's not, can you see that that's trying to go through there, but it's, I'll tell you what I could use. There we go. Right, set of that's not really wanting to go. I think it's definitely the size of the holes. Right, I'm going with size of holes because it's definitely lined up. And you can see there, look, where it's kind of causing damage to the peg. It's definitely that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape just a little bit off, generally all around, and then I'll see if that fits, and I'll just keep doing that until it does eventually fit. I don't think it needs an awful lot taken off. And then what I can also do is scrape a little bit on the hole, and then so look, on the bright side, these aren't going to need gluing in place, are they? Can't help thinking maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I feel like that all the time with this part work, where I'm having to adjust bits to get them in. See, that peg has definitely gone through the hole. It seems to be the base of the peg that's the problem. That's definitely going in, but yeah, and it's not. It needs to go in a bit more. It's ever so slightly bigger that end than that end. So it does. Can you see all this rotating, and that's just come off. See, that's why I wanted to glue it in the first place. This is, oh, right. No, that's just come off. Ah! Okay, guys, my apologies for that small outburst. I am really sorry. So, I've taken a little break. I've made another cup of coffee. So what I've done, I can't show you this now. I've just kept sanding that little peg back there. And as you can see, I've got it to fit. It does require a little bit of pliers to get it in. It's not absolutely 100. There's a little gap there, but it's in, and I don't want to pull it out and show you because you know. Now my concern, I've got two concerns. These don't fit. I've already lost one of these, and one of the hubcaps has come off, and this, as you saw, this just come off. This was screwed in and it just came off, and that was with the force of putting these in. So a link is going to Agora Models. I am now at the complaining stage of this. I'm really not happy with this build. I hope I put that the right way round, won't it? Yeah, it goes that way. These D screws are not long enough. They're not long enough. I've looked on the little screw holder, and you can see they're M2 by 3. They really want to be M3 by 4. So I'm going to try on camera. These are the wrong kind of screws because these are countersunk screws. But this E-type screw is it's a little top hat screw. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try the E screw, and I'm going to see if a 4mm makes much difference, and I think it will. And I promise you this is the first time I've tried it, and that is fantastic. So either I put these screws in wrong, but that's gone in tight. So I think these 3mm screws are not long enough. So I really am unhappy with it. So I hope Agora is watching this, because it's bad customer services if you're not. And in all fairness, the customer services at Agora has always been good. So I am confident, but this 3mm screw is just not quite long enough. It's like the ends are touching, but that is screwed in as it's not going to go any further, but there's no stop point, so I really don't know. And at the end of the video, because I've now got a gripe with this stage, it now means that all the tiny gripes that I've had to date, which I've just let pass, I'm now thinking, it's you know, so I will be bringing them all up at the end. Right, so look, that screw, it needs to be 4mm. Let me take this E screw out. And pop the E screw in. See, that's not fully engaging. Now, do I glue this on? But why should I be gluing it if it tells you to screw it on? See, those screws aren't going in fully. Now I'm now worried, when that's fully built, will I open the door and the whole thing falls off? That's just really not good enough. I'm sorry guys, and I really don't know what to do. Part of me is saying stop the build, you know, try and get your money back, stop the build. I don't know, really am unhappy. I've never been this unhappy with a part work before. The next thing we need to do is try to get this in. Now this is all glued around. The only way I'm going to need blue tack for that, because I need to hold that in place and I need to glue it. Let's get some blue tack out. The only way that's going to go in is if I see I've stuck that with a bit of blue tack. I'm going to have to put some glue on. That in itself isn't going to be a problem, but you know, these should be push fits. So I'm sorry guys to bleat on. So tiny drop, tiny drop. So now what I've been doing is I make each stage now as a stage, and then I look at the length of each stage, and then I piece the stages together to make one video based on the total length. Now I believe the last stage was about 25 minutes, and this is going on for a long time, so this is going to end up, but I need to put this and the last stage together. But yeah, that's there, and that's feeling loose now. So that, and you can't even say it's the wrong screwdriver, because this is the screwdriver that's come with the fire build. So yeah, I'm pushing that screw in as hard as I possibly can, and it's not engaging. It just needs to be another millimeter. So I need some screws like this, but they need to be countersunk screws. So I don't know what to do. A solution is to get some more E screws. Maybe I can find something on eBay or something, some countersunk M2 by 3mm, but why should I have to buy screws to complete the build? Right guys, so let's move on to the next step, because this is going on a little bit. Right, so Next step, we want stage 5, turn the box frame so that the underside is facing up and locate the battery compartment bottom, which I think is there. And right, so what's going to happen? Well, this wire's long. Right, so I want to be careful with this wire because it looks a little bit fragile. If it broke off, I can solder it on, but not everybody can. Right, so we've got 3 lugs, 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and that's going to go over there like so. Make sure you're not trapping the wires. Right, that's going on like that. And then we got type A screws, and I am going to use my regular screwdriver for this. Right, so I only have 3 type I screws. That's fine, I'm not panicking over that. Except I've just done the wrong screw. Sorry guys, I just read the instructions wrong. I is actually the next instruction. So, right, so grab that. So, the feed the world screws. Remember I said earlier on, if these were food, I've got enough to feed the world. We want 3 of those, and these are nice sturdy screws. We've gone from inadequate screws to, they just look, they're John Wayne of the screw world, aren't they? So, right, so very gently, because we've got that wire, I don't want to catch that wire, and I just wish there was some way to test this battery box before we screw it in, because what I would now do is gently half screw these 3 screws, like so. And then I can pop some batteries in there and plug this into some kind of tester board, and if it just had a little light on it, that's all I need, just enough to make sure these are working. But I'm going to have to trust it, which I'm going to be honest with you, my trust levels with this particular build have gone down. I'm sorry that I'm complaining, but I also feel I have the right to when I'm spending this sort of money on this build. You know, when you have a difficult week at work and then you have a day off and all you want to do is get on with your builds for rest and relaxation, and then this is happening with this stage. So that's my justification for being a bit arsey with it. Maybe I'll have a smile on my face at the end of the stage. What's the time? Sorry, just checking on the time. I'm doing some cheeky early morning. I mentioned it earlier on. I'm doing some cheeky early morning filming. It's actually currently 7:35 in the morning, and my lodger's getting up. Right. So next, we've got the battery compartment top, and that's going in there like that. And make sure that hole is there, and that's where I read the I screw from. So we're going to secure that with, I don't know why I've just switched my screwdriver, and I don't know why I'm out of breath when all I've done is screwed 3 screws in. There we go. So that's in. So that's the battery compartment in. So that's fine. And that is the end of that stage. Right, so the picture they're giving us is, this is all down there like that, with the three ties, cable ties. Oh, sorry guys, my camera's moved. Let's move the cloth up. So that's essentially what that looks. So that's stage 39 complete. So rating, well, you know, if I rated the last stage C minus, I can't give this any more than a C minus, and I don't want to give it a C. It works, it's in, but I'm really worried. So I'm going to be a little bit, maybe a touch harsh. I'm going to rate it a D, because this should not be coming off while I'm trying to put that stage on. I think this is a terrible stage. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. And if this was stage 1, I would have cancelled the build. Right guys, so yeah, that's it. Let's switch over to the main camera. So before I switch over to the main camera, because I'm going to be sending the link of this to Agora as part of a complaint, I just want to bring this windscreen in. So obviously Agora, you are welcome to look at the actual build, so you can see that I haven't damaged this, but this is an area that I chose to ignore. If you look just there, that was a crack that came with it, you know. I didn't put that crack, that is a damaged part. And the reason I chose to let it go was because, look, can you see that if you got this, like say this angle sitting on the shelf, really it's not going to make a major difference, is it? So, you know, that's why I let it go. But now that I'm starting to get complaints about other things, then obviously it's it is a problem. So having also noticed on this build, they've never told us this, all of these stabilizers have this little button. See, like I've been complaining about, I said it's not a major problem, but this sits low. If you push that in high and then you push that button, it releases it. I did not know that. They haven't explained that to us, so I've had to discover that. So that's actually nice. Now I've discovered that. I'm also missing a hubcap on one of the wheels where it's not a really tight fit, and where I've transferred from my work area, somewhere it's fallen off. So, you know, if you want to action this and go, okay, we'll feel sorry for you, we'll give you a hubcap, even though you could argue it's my fault and I could argue it's your fault, just have, you know, maybe you could have a bit of mercy on me. So that's the end of stage 38-39. I was hoping to maybe get 3 issues into the one video, but that's because I want to try and catch up, but it's certainly not going to happen with this. And there's only 6 stages in this whole pack, so I had already made the decision before I started filming. This is either going to be a 2 video month or a 3 video. So next week, I haven't even started filming it, and I can tell you next week is going to be 2 stages. I lost my cool on that stage, and I've never lost my cool before, ever. When I'm hobbying, it's like I hobby to chill, and yeah, I lost it. I didn't swear, so I know I didn't totally lose it. I still had enough control. But it's not good. I've been getting little issues with this, so I'm going to be posting. Obviously, when you're watching this, it's public release, but I'm actually going to be posting it as an unlisted video, giving Agora the link and saying, I know it's lengthy, but please watch this. There has been many issues, and the reason I'm disappointed is that this is the first Agora exclusive that I've done. I did do the Terminator with Agora before, but that's a Harshette part work that's been packaged as an Agora. I understand that Agora, just the distributors, they don't necessarily make the part, or maybe they do, I don't know how Agora works. But this is the first build that you can only buy from Agora, and I've got to be honest with you, it's disappointing. Really am disappointed with it. At this particular stage of the build, if anybody came up to me and said, oh Penny, what's that fire truck like, I would say, just keep your money. So I am sorry for the negative review. This is now the point where I'll see how Agora deals with it, and I suspect their customer service is going to be very good, because it's always been very good. We do often talk about the different part works. Back in the days when I first came into part works, Harshette had terrible, absolutely dreadful service, but their products were fairly decent. And then over time their customers, they must have listened to us going, oh, the customer service is terrible, because their customer service now is wonderful. Model space have gone the opposite. Great products, okay products, great customer service. Their customer service has gone downhill. Agora, their customer service has always been spot on, and I've got no reason to change my mind on that. So that wasn't begging for help. Well, it was begging for help, but it wasn't begging for things for free. So guys, that is stages 38, 39. Not happy bunny. However, having said that, we have added this, and it does look okay. A couple of little fit issues. You know, these aren't fitting properly. I daren't touch it. I'm too scared. There's more work to be done on this, and I'm scared to touch it. I'm absolutely petrified. It's fallen off while we put the steps on, and yeah, a lot of niggly problems. Right guys, so I will be back next week with stages 40 and 41. Without scrolling through my PDF, I can tell you stage 40 is rear left light cluster, PCB and accessories. Haven't looked at stage 41 yet. Take care guys, and I will see you in the next issue if my outro works properly.